Hello guys, so welcome back to my channel Code Shiba, where I'll be posting my DSA content each and every day, and today is day 16th of doing so. Problem that today we'll be solving is monotonic array, which is lead code problem number 896. So let's look at the problem and see what it is. Within this problem, an array is monotonic if it is either monotonic increasing or monotonic decreasing. Okay, so we need to return true if an array is monotonically increasing or decreasing. Otherwise, we'll have to return false in this case. So for that, first of all, we need to understand what monotonicity of of an array what it does really mean. So a given array can be monotonically increasing if like all of the elements within that array form a graph something like this, and if array is considered to be as monotonically decreasing array, then it will form a graph something like this. Okay, so an example of a function which is monotonically increasing might be like 1 2 2 4 7. An example of an array which might be monotonically decreasing would be 7 7 2 1. Okay, so if we need to figure out if a particular input is either of these two things, and if it is not among these two things, then we might be returning false, that it's not a monotonic array. So that's it to the introduction of this problem. Let's figure out how we are going to solve it, and how many approaches might be there. So the very first approach to solve this problem, might be, I guess there are not many approaches to solve this problem. You can simply do something like, there are different methods to implement a certain approach. Like, let's say if a particular array is there, and you want to check if it is increasing, monotonically increasing or monotonically decreasing. Okay, so you can maybe like create two functions right here, and based on as I've already told you, functions might be like this, or functions might be like something like this. Okay, so functions are like this. All you need to do is you need to check the very first element and an element after that, and you can do it for like an array. If a particular array shows a sign where it is increasing, then you need to definitely check if it is monotonically increasing or not. If a particular array would show that it is decreasing in nature, then you will have to check for a function which tells you that this given array is decreasing or not. If none of these two cases are occurring, let's say if an array is 2 7 1 4, if something like this, and none of these functions are called, then we can say definitely return false, and that's all like for this implementation. Or we can have something like, the second way to implement this solution might be where like we can have a flag and we can say, like, if a particular, we can like initialize two flags such as increasing and decreasing as true. Okay, then we can run maybe a for loop or a for each loop. In this can maybe a for each loop, and we can, if a condition, we can write breaking points for these two elements. If a particular function is increasing, that means it is not decreasing, so we can say that decreasing will have a flag of we will update its flag to false. Or if a function is decreasing, that means it must be increasing. It must not be increasing, and we will have a flag updated to false for, in this case, for increasing. And finally we can return increasing or decreasing this statement. If any of these flags would have a true value inside them, then the solution will, then it will like, the solution will be true, and it will be like this. So the time complexity, like if it comes to time complexity of this approach, it might be uh, big of n, because at worst case we are running throughout the loop, and space complexity for this function will be big of 1 with its constant space complexity, because we are not using any other data structure aside from two boolean expressions, or like boolean variables. So that's it. This is all for the logic part. Let's move on to the implementation part and see how it is. We can basically have two variables here. Let's say I is increasing, and goal of false. Then we can have a for loop. Okay, so what we will be doing is we will be taking an array, and within that array we will check for a particular uh, current element, if a current and previous. If we will check the value behind it. If this if the previous value is greater than the current value, that means the function, if it is decreasing, it will have a graph like this. Or if a previous element is basically smaller than the current element, then the graph should be increasing in nature. And if it is not, then we will just return false if none of these two conditions would be true. So let's see if a particular number, if a particular number if current is greater than previous, that means the array has to be increasing. And for that we will say that decreasing should be false. Similarly, and at last we will return nor statement. Let's see if our code works for these following cases. Okay, so the problem with our code was that we were initializing I two times, so we must change the variable's name. Let's say increase is in. Let's see if it works. Yes, this code finally works. Let's see if it works for larger test cases too. Mm, yes, so my code works for largest test cases too. And this is it, guys. Thanks you for watching my video, and log out.